Hey everyone, welcome back to D&J's Epic Quest. I am Justorian, and this is...
This is Dereker, and this evening slash night, we've got a very special guest with us. We have Mr. Jan with us, the picker of pies.
Jan, the picker of pies. How you doing,
Hi,
Jan?
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
A bit surprised to be here.
Why is that, Jan?
I suddenly got a message and that said, could you show up in about an hour or so?
And you're like, sure, why the hell not?
It's a good way to spend a Saturday evening.
What, it's not terribly late for you, is it?
Now it's 20 minutes to 1 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
It's a little late then, but I guess I would probably be in bed at that time, but we appreciate you being here. We had to pivot a little bit, but I'm glad things worked out and you were able to make it on here and chat with us about Malazan here for a bit, and specifically the Chain of Dogs subbook, which we will wrap up here tonight.
I'm looking forward to it. I hardly ever get the chance to talk Malazan face to face with people. It's normally in like chats in Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah, I feel that. I talk a lot about Malazan, and people are like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's just this really cool story. Well, can you explain it? Not really.
I don't even know how, like, I would explain it to somebody like, well, there's one book and we're on the second book, and it very much is different from the first book. There's a few of the same characters and a lot of new ones.
It's even harder to explain when you've read all the books.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
I'm sure everything comes together.
Hmm.
You've read the whole series 3 times then, or?
Yeah, I read all of the main 10, as some people call them, and I read the E&C Esmont's 6-book series and the prequels from Esmond Path to Ascendancy and the Carcanus trilogy, the 2 that have come out, and the God Is Not Winning.
Okay. What about the novellas?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They're excellent.
Yeah. I just picked up all 7 of them, and they were pricey. They were definitely pricey. I don't like combined books. Like, I know I could have totally just got the volume 1 and volume 2, but I'm an individual book kind of dude, you know.
Yeah, they're hard to come by, like individual. I've mainly seen them like collected works.
Yeah,
but they are so much fun. It's like Steven Erikson just plays around in those books, and some of them cracked pot trail. It just like goes off the rails.
Okay. Okay. I'm definitely very like anticipatory about reading them, because I find myself like walking by my bookshelf and I'll like pull one of them randomly out, and I'll just like look at the cover and like read the like little inscription inside. But yeah, I'm excited to get to those.
Yeah. What is it? He who waits for something good is well rewarded, or something like that.
I think that's the saying, something like that.
It sounds better in Norwegian.
Good things come to those who wait.
That's it.
There we go. Patience is a virtue. I'm tired of waiting.
All that stuff. Yeah. Also, hey, this is our 50th episode, so that's pretty freaking exciting. Like, here we are. 50 episodes feels like a pretty big milestone. So
yeah, it's crazy. I still don't think of myself as a podcaster. It's just something that I do every week and don't have any thoughts outside of that.
Congratulations. It's a milestone.
Thank you very much.
It is. Hopefully the next 50 come by just as easily. So yeah, thank you for sharing this moment with us. Also, it's very fun.
It was a sudden but great honor.
Sweet. I suppose we should move on to our Patreon acknowledgements, right?
Yeah, we can do that. Well, we got one of them here. We've got Mr. Jan, the picker of pies, with us, Luciana, Ryan, the topological, and we have an announcement. We have a new patron inscribed into our Book of the Fallen. We have Damien, the Rock with Faces, as he will be known for now. Jan, you gave a little head nod there. He gave us a little bit of it was a vague description without giving anything away. So
I know the reference.
yeah,
Okay, awesome.
he told us we got a little bit to get there, and yeah. So welcome, Damien. Thank you to you, Jan, and everybody else. We definitely appreciate you guys.
Yes, thank you very much.
It
You're
feels good
welcome.
to thank you in person like this too. So it's exciting.
Yeah,
No, it's been fun following you.
we appreciate that. It's again, it's one of those things that, you know, reading the comments and like the Patreon messages and the emails, and it's really surreal. Like, I don't know. I guess I was not the popular kid in school. No one really liked anything that I did. Just kind of like always under the radar, so to speak. And I guess it's really fulfilling to put something out there that people are enjoying. So
Also, with the internet, it's easier to find people with the same interests.
exactly. And I'm starting to learn as I've aged years here, that the little niche that I've always been kind of like picked on for is actually a beautiful thing, and I should not apologize for it. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep making like really fucked up artwork. I'm gonna keep reading, and I'm gonna keep podcasting. So I'm good.
Do what you love.
Exactly.
I had a thought and I forgot what it was now. Those were some good words, Justin. I don't have anything to add to that. So
Sorry, man.
oh, I was just gonna say it's been a lot of fun just interacting with everybody and making friends like you, Jan. I'm really surprised. Like, I didn't think we were gonna be making friends all over the world, and that still blows my mind. Just, I mean, literally, I mean, you're almost as far to the other side of the world as you can get from where we are, right? And here we are talking. So it really does make it enjoyable to find people that have the same interests, and we get to share that.
And as you mentioned, you know, talking Malazan with other fans is, you know, few and far between. So it's always nice to have a conversation.
And I found that Malazan fans, they are very engaged in Malazan.
We've noticed.
For sure.
But yeah, I guess anyway, should we move on to Chain of Dogs wrap up here?
Yeah. And well, Justin and I, the other night, we sat down and tried to come up with some talking points and some questions and stuff like that. So we'll pitch some stuff your way, and we'll see what you make of it, what you think. And yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first? You want to just keep our same little style here? I go first, you go.
Sure. I mean, I'll take this first one here if you don't mind.
Go for it, man.
So from what we've gathered from just, I guess, our perspective and what we've seen online and in the Malazan community, is that this Chain of Dogs subbook seems to be a pretty big favorite among a lot of people. And so I guess I don't know if it's your favorite part out of the whole series or not, Jan, but if it is, or even if it ranks very highly, we're curious what makes it so special, or, you know, what about it makes it stand out to you?
Well, there's several things. There's like, well, the entire book, Deadhouse Gates, is an amazing book, and I place it quite highly in the series. But I think in this part, it's Steven Eriksson's ability to describe battles really comes out, and he gets that from his background in tabletop gaming. Managed to set up the battles and like conceptualize how the battles would go, and how his ability to describe battles from the above point of view, but also from the perspective of individuals who are participating in the battles. you also get even more and more of the lore of Malazan, like with Bowden and being a Talon, and, and what the Talons are, and the battle between the Claws and Talons, and Lacine taking over the Empire. And it's what's not cool about riding a dead dragon's wake through a warren and using shadows to close up the rip, and being burned in fire and being changed to something new. There's just so many cool elements. Heboric's ghostly hands climbing down a rock wall. There's just so much cool shit.
There definitely is some really cool shit.
I really still just go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I know that from what I understood, and I very well could be wrong, is that Gardens of the Moon was a style of D&D, wasn't it? Some of the concepts and like
it's not D&D. It's another type. Or they used to play another type of tabletop gaming called GURP. Where they would, which gave them more ability to control and develop their own characters.
Gotcha.
So a lot of the characters in Malazan Book of the Fallen were characters that they played, him and Ian C. Esselmont. And some of the most monumentous events in the book series was actually decided by the roll of a dice.
Whoa.
And then they had to write the story around the outcome of the throw of the dice.
That is cool. Was that like something you saw in or read in like an interview with the authors, or was just man, I need to start doing some research, but I'm always afraid I'm gonna spoil something when I do it. So
you can he does some interviews with AP Caravan. And I believe they do it book by book, so not so much spoilers for the series, but he does tend to spoil them.
So we've heard, yes.
Yeah. Maura and Lee have mentioned that a couple times to us, and I remember, I know Lee told us what GURP stands for, but I can't remember what it is.
That's pretty awesome. I had no idea. Yeah, which is what I think makes these wrap-up episodes quite special, is because this is the shit we don't know anything about.
Now there's you haven't got to the most momentous event that was decided by dice. So a lot of the storylines, they were decided by the gameplay, but we don't know exactly what parts are and which are like written alongside. As for example, Crocus, he was not an original character that they played. He was written for the book, or the screenplay that it was originally. It was originally a screenplay and then became a book.
Gotcha.
That's interesting.
Did not know that either. I mean, I knew about the screenplay thing, but I didn't know about, what you're bringing up with Crocus. That was a very interesting response to our first question. I was not expecting that type of elaboracy. So that's awesome.
Sorry.
No, it's great. Like, we love it. We will drink it in. So, but do you think that in the sections with Coltane and Duiker and between the battles that you mentioned earlier, do you think that they, like, in between the battles, those like small sections with the train and Duiker, do you think that they helped convey the severity of the situation, or did you find those parts to be a little slower? Oh, okay, great.
It's not slow because it describes how painful the trek is. It is an immense torture and extreme situation they are in, and he manages to convey that through the writing and the sentiments of the people that are having to march day on day and day after day after day and being continuously attacked and then running out of food. It is extreme, and he manages to convey the their situation, and like some words and phrases are so poignant. It's like kids are dying. It just hits you, and it's also like this is a story, but this sort of thing has also happened in real life on this world. So we have
I was
to.
just thinking about that. I mean,
So it's like some people get turned away by those sorts of things, but to better understand humanity and the ability to give comfort and be loving, you also have to be able to understand the dark sides. To understand compassion, you have to understand how can compassion come out from people who are in that sort of situation,
who don't necessarily see compassion themselves because of the situation. Well, that's fair. That was great. Do you think that so one of the things that's always kind of intrigued me, and this is kind of tying into the next question a little bit, but still somewhat related to these sections between these battles, is Coltane's mindset of like positivity and looking at the bigger picture, so to speak, and versus Duiker. And I guess it's up for debate as to whether or not he's being pessimistic or realistic. I personally think that he's being realistic, and I think, Derek, you think the same. But
for the most part, yeah.
I guess I feel like that also ties into just the severity of it, and it kind of brings a more realistic keel to, like, if you were to put yourself in this train, right? Like, are you going to believe Coltane, or are you going to look at the reality of the situation and be realistic about it? You know, like, we're going to die. We're all going to fucking die.
Coltane can't show that he is pessimistic. He has to show that he is strong so that others will follow. And he always has to plan. If he gives up thinking that there's a future, how can he plan for a future?
Mic drop. That's all I'm going to say. The mic was dropped.
I think that's a very fair thing to say, though. I mean, I can see that out of Coltane. You know, I mean, you've got roughly the number of people that live in the town that I do, 45, 50,000 people, whatever it is. And so what I keep imagining is just like if you rounded up every single one of those people and just, you know, drove them out, sent them to wherever, I guess, and you got somebody leading this, like everybody's going to be scared. Like I wouldn't want to be in that. I would be like, I'd feel like you'd be foolish if you weren't afraid you're going to die. But if the guy leading the thing is like, well, this is kind of hopeless, but we're going to go as far as we can go. Well, you're probably not going to make it very far. But we keep seeing out of Coltane that whether it's forced or not, he doesn't have that attitude. And I guess I don't know how much the people rally around that, but they definitely seem to feed into it a little bit, especially when you see these times where after a battle they get to relax a little bit and they're playing games and stuff. I think that attitude that Coltane has kind of gives people a little bit of a chance to relax, even though he can't.
That's fair. I feel like the more that we're reading on in the chain of dogs here, like even Captain Lull, you know, in a conversation with Duiker, is starting to lose that vision or that hope that Coltane will pull through. And I find that interesting because it's like you're torn between so many different things, you know, and goes back to what you were saying about, you know, he doesn't really have a way of showing it, you know, to everybody. He himself has to keep going, and hopefully that will trickle down, so to speak.
His strength of character is what's leading them.
Right. Yeah. It's so cool to think about, just putting all of this in a book and with characters, and you just relate to all of them. And yeah, you want to see him come out ahead and victorious. But, you know, with a book like this, it really makes you second guess. Like there is no trope here, in my opinion. There's no, oh, the good guys win. because who's the good guys? That's something we've been struggling with since we started is, like sometimes compassion for the apocalypse, sometimes you feel compassion for the Malazans, and who's right or wrong? No one at this point.
And that's a choice that he made when writing. He didn't want like the clear-cut heroes and the clear-cut baddies. He wanted people in situations, and how people behave in situation determines how if they're good or bad in that situation. And some people can be good in one situation and then they're in another and then they're bad in that situation.
Yeah.
People can change.
It's just genius. I guess I'm a baby when it comes to fantasy books, I've read Wheel of Time. That's my only big accomplishment as far as like high fantasy or fantasy goes. But, I wanted more, and Malazan is giving that to me, and I'm a little apprehensive for when it's over. So I gotta wait.
You'll be ruined. Ruined for other fantasy.
Oh Jesus! So have you struggled to find other books or?
No, but I'm able to enjoy books for that. Okay, that part that's good about that book. But yeah, Malazan does set a high bar.
Gotcha.
So I read Wheel of Time after reading Malazan. So and I could clearly see the faults in Wheel of Time after having reading Malazan. But there were things I enjoyed about Wheel of Time. But maybe I would have enjoyed it more if I hadn't read Malazan beforehand.
Gotcha. So what you're saying is there's never a good time to read Malazan.
No.
I think it sounds like there's just never a good time to finish it.
That's fair.
But it's also one of my other favorite fantasy series is Discworld, which is a completely different style of fantasy. That is a comedy fantasy series. But what they both do in different ways is examine the human condition and present it on the page.
I've heard of it. I've not read any of them, but I've heard of it. There are like 25 books in that or something, and I've seen things that there's like a billion different orders to read those books in.
Yeah, I think there's 47 books.
Oh shit, so I undershot it.
Yeah.
47 books?
Yeah, and the correct order is the published order.
I think that's what people do with most things, I feel like, but you get, differing opinions and everything like that too.
No, but the correct order is published.
It'd be a big one to tackle.
That'll be for the next podcast.
Well, yeah, that's just it. Well, we got a lot of books to go through here, but that doesn't mean I haven't wondered like, well, what do we do after this? I mean, because I've got ideas.
This you start on ENC. No, you've decided to read the ENC Esselmont books or intertwine them.
And the novellas, and we're just gonna go for it.
It's gonna take some time.
Yeah, we've got probably a good decade before we're done. I think the plan was to intersperse the novellas and the Esselmont, the novels of the Malazan Empire, into our read through here based on publication order. And then I know that we'll probably wrap up with the sequel trilogy and then go back and do the prequel since we're past that point now.
You got a lot of good books ahead of you.
I'm looking forward to it. It's also so painstakingly slow, but in the moment it feels like it's going quickly. Like I know we started Deadhouse at the end of October. That's a long time ago. But at the end of the day, I feel like we just started.
And soon you'll be on to Memories of Ice.
Yes. Which I hear.
Soon.
I guess. What do you think, Derek? You wanna read the next one?
So Bowden revealed that Tavor hired him as he's an ex-Talon. Well, it was a pretty cool part of the story. Do you recall, I guess, your emotions, what you felt when you read that for the first time? Because I know when we read it, we felt like that there was definitely more to him. I kind of thought maybe he was a claw. At that point, we didn't have any idea that that there was a counterpart to the claw with these talons. But just getting that reveal that there was something else there was kind of surprising, but also pretty rewarding. When, especially like for me, I kind of felt like there was something there, even though I wasn't quite right. I was kind of right. It still felt good to find that information out.
And that's something that I've loved about the series, is like these wow moments, like this new information and new lore coming out in the pages, and it's just like Bowden really saying that he was a Talon and explaining everything. It's just like cool. And the further you get into the books, the more you manage to piece together bits of information that you've read in the books, and like, it's very rewarding. I really love that about the books.
Just getting to connect those dots and make that connection.
Mm.
And I feel like this book so far is like nothing but that, and it's driving me absolutely crazy. Because I want that wow moment. So I'm like probably more or less looking at it more deeply than I have to, which is probably what causes me to swing at and miss quite a bit. But I love it. But at the same time, I'm like, I really hope that I can tie this all together.
It's another great wow moment in this book is like when it's explicitly said that Dancer and Kellenbed are the Emperor, and
yeah, that was like a holy shit moment for sure, because I'm pretty sure I read that first, and then I text you, Justin. I don't remember what I said, but yeah, it was like I mean, I didn't see it coming, and I guess, you know, if we were to reread Gardens of the Moon and go back through it, maybe it's a little bit more obvious. But I mean, as a first time reader, like, definitely not something I picked up on.
No, not at all. And I know that in the opening epigraph to the book, there's some heavy foreshadowing there that Kellenved isn't dead. And, you know, again, when you're reading that for the first time, you know, you're not used to the way that Erickson writes. And it's almost like this, you have to read between the lines with the things that are literally in front of you, which is, I think, just a genius way to write, you know? So, yeah.
And another thing that you have to remember with his writing is that he also writes as if people might not know the full story, or they don't have the complete information. So something that a character says might be wrong because the character has the wrong information himself.
Right, which is weird to think about because, you know, in a book or, you know, any type of entertainment that is so the antithesis of, you know, what you learn from that media. It definitely catches me off guard quite a bit. I'll be the first to admit that I'll take something into heart and they're like completely dead fucking wrong.
And it's also the thing about Bowden and the Talons is there's so much story in the books, like the Empire and the Talons and the Claw. It's a really cool story, but it's just a small part of such a huge story. But and there's so many cool small parts, and then after a while they start coming together, and it's just like weaving that tapestry all together to make this huge, beautiful picture. It's amazing.
I feel like we get that on kind of a much smaller scale, just even in this book as things are starting to come together. But yeah, down the road in the later books, when we get there, I'm excited to see those things come together like you're talking about.
Definitely kept our intrigue, for sure. Enough to make a podcast about it.
And you will learn more about Talons.
Okay, cool. I was hoping so. I hope it wasn't just this like, oh, bloop, here's Talons. Bye. I guess I appreciate that very wonderful response about Bowden and the Talons. And I guess our next question, I guess, It seems that Felizin is coming to terms with everything that's kind of happened to her. However, not in the way that like one would think. She seems to be more calculated with her nastiness rather than just being, lashing out at anyone that she's around. It's like she's growing colder and colder as the chapters go on. But us as the readers, I feel like we still hold on for hope for her. And I just think that it's such a beautiful way to portray a character such as Felizin. I know that Derek, she's your favorite character. I would say, like, when I really think about it, she's mine as well. So I guess I know Felizin is kind of a huge debate among the Malazan community. But I guess are there any thoughts about her calculated nastiness or just really anything Felizin?
Well, she's like a sword being forged. She's continuously being knocked and hammered on, and so she's gotten sharper and sharper. Basically, it's part of it. I feel is to protect herself. She's becoming what she's becoming in a way to protect her own sanity in a way and protect herself because she has gone through some shit.
Oh God, it is so hard to read that. Sometimes it is really, really hard to read that.
But it's also, how would you react if you had been in her situation? Would you still be able to be open and happy to everybody?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. I'd be a fucking dick. Be a jerk.
Yeah, it would probably not be very pleasant either.
No, not at all.
So, but the question is, she's being forged. What is she being forged into?
Warning. Spoiler head regarding Felizin in Chapter 15 of Deadhouse Gates. Please skip to 35 minutes and 41 seconds.
Well, I guess right now, I mean, it looks like she's gonna become Shaik. I mean, that was kind of a switch from what we were thinking. We thought it was going to be Apsalar, but now even at that same time, it's still in the back of my mind that maybe for some reason it's not going to turn out to be Felizin becoming Shaik. There's just that doubt in my mind now. We got to switch once. Why can't it happen again?
But did you realize it was Felizin at the end of the book, or did you think it was Apsala at the end of the book?
When she approached Shaik's body, or I thought it was Apsalar.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, both of us did.
Yeah, hook, line, and sinker. We took the bait on that.
Didn't you notice the comment? Watch out for his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think we both felt kind of the same way. For whatever reason, we were thinking it was talking about servants and his I guess, new hand and old hand or arm or whatever. So it was just, I don't know. I feel like Justin, you and I don't often have the same thoughts like that, but for whatever reason, that time we were both aligned in our thinking on that.
We both got stuck on that one. And also just a quick mention, we only know that it was Felizin because we have continued on reading. This definitely happened in this wrap up. So if people are following along, spoiler alert, that haven't read that next chapter.
Hopefully there's not too much of that.
I don't think so. I feel like the majority of I feel like we've got a couple of followers who are reading it along with us, but they usually surpass us or they've already read the series. So maybe I'll put a warning in there. Spoiler, please skip the one. Yeah.
Maybe a good thing just in case somebody out there. Yeah. But yeah, we fell for it pretty hard, and then once, like I said, we wanted to read on, and so we did. And reading that next chapter, it didn't make any sense to me. Like when did Felizin and Heberick get here with Leomin and Toblakai? And then I was like, oh, okay, well now it makes sense. So that's who it was showing up at the end of the last chapter. That wasn't Absalar and her father. So it was like a mind blown moment for sure on my end. I didn't see it coming.
Well, Stephen Erickson set it up to fool you. There
And
was
he
all
did.
the talk. There was all the talk about Post planning to use Absala as to take over the role of Shaik, and then you automatically thought it was her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jan, you're saying this with some sincerity here.
No, I wasn't fooled.
I meant Felazan being Shaik. You see, certain.
No, we don't know anything about that yet.
Good answer. Damn it. Okay, all right. No worries. Does it feel weird knowing which one of us is getting the pie, even though it's probably me?
Yeah.
Ah!
No, it's fun. It's fun.
I'm feeling pretty good about my odds here, Jan. So I'm fairly confident, but I guess I'll be patient here yet. I'm not terribly worried. We'll say that.
I just don't want to take two. I don't want to take two.
No comment.
God damn it.
We'll read and find out. Well, Justin, you want to take this next one? I think you do good with this, so I think you should take this question here also, or statement, however you want to word it.
Oh, yeah. Number 6 here. Cool. Well, Jan, I know that you talked about Haborik's ghost hands here, and we understand that at this point it is likely the Jade Finger is the reason that he has his ghost hands. However, we can't seem to recall when his ghost hands in the story became a thing. They just kind of seemed like they popped out of nowhere, and they seem to be related.
Like a ghost?
Yeah, exactly. Beautifully said. But we're not sure how it's related to the memories that he's seeing, and which, for whatever reason, has caused his blindness to the current world. And like, at face value, we know what that means. Like, we totally understand that, he's seeing the past of Raraku, but when exactly in the story did this become a thing?
I'm trying to remember now.
Sorry. Because to me, the way that I'm interpreting it is when Culp and Gessler and Stormy and Truth showed up on the island, the Otatero coast, the mines or whatever, and picked up Felazan, Bowden, and Haborik. And Culp, when he opened up his warren, could see that Haborik, his arm was like, one of his arms was fighting with, something red and something green, and then the other arm was something he couldn't define as some type of ancient magic. And I always just associated that with like the Otatero from them walking through the desert was fighting with whatever was his right arm or arm. Or
yeah,
whatever.
that's the Otatero and the Jade.
Right.
But
yeah.
the thing is that the explanation for the Jade you will not get for for a while yet.
Like in this book, or like?
No, not in this book. So you it's a Jade statue, but you don't. It takes a while until you get to know what the Jade statue is.
Can you say if it has anything to do with the Jag Hut? He just smiles and laughs like, nope, can't answer that. All right then.
Well, I could, but
probably better that you don't.
But the other thing you have to remember about his hands is his god.
Benner, right?
Yeah.
See, that's also a part that I don't know about you, Derek, but we got that whole big scene in the desert with him, and then he just kind of seems like he's disappeared. So I'm not sure what to make of that, and I don't know if there are any story elements that we've already gone through that you can speak to that, or...
Well, imagine if you were a god and you were pulled down to the mortal realm possibly you losing your powers, what would you do?
I would assume I would
Hide.
attach myself to whatever I could. No? Yeah.
I would hide.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah. So he shows up again. He does.
So is he hiding in Hebrick then? You are funny. You are so funny.
I was just kind of starting to have that thought.
See, that's what I think too, is that he's somehow latched himself on to Hebrick. But how that ties into like the memories and the ghost hands, I'm not. If that's a Rafa moment, cool. But it's driving me crazy.
It's like he has all these different energies coursing through him and battling, and it just opens him up to new vistas of perception.
Interesting. That kind of makes sense from where we currently are. I was telling Derek, or I was texting him the other day about a theory that I had, but it's not anything that we could talk about on this particular wrap up. Maybe when we're done recording, I'll bring it up and see what you think. You're probably just gonna smile and not say anything.
Good possibility of that, yes.
We're trying to avoid that in these wrap ups because we started to learn that when we ask questions that we don't know answers to, it's usually met with, well, you should probably still read. So
sometimes in these books, you have to enjoy what's happening without understanding why it's happening.
yeah. Oh, it's definitely enjoyable. I'm just...
And it is the story about ancient Raraku and how the civilization destroyed itself. The first empire is another fucking cool thing.
And we're just getting itty bitty tidbits of it.
But that's another gem that's like starting to come out of the soil, and you're starting like to brush around the edges. And the more you read, the more this gem, this nugget of a story will emerge.
Kind of like an archaeologist would, right?
Possibly. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can be smart sometimes. Okay. Anyway, okay, cool. Well, I appreciate that answer. And I guess I'll look forward to however all of that ties in to him. It just feels like so much is happening to him that it's like, it goes back to what we said earlier, or what we talked about earlier with the whole, some of these characters are wrong about what they say or what they know. So it's one of those things where like you have this like little bit of doubt as a first time reader, like, okay, did I pick that up the right way? Or because I thought it was this versus things that it may be now or in a different section. And yeah, don't want to get to the end of the book and be like, what the fuck did I just read?
There are always going to be things at the end of the book that you don't quite understand how it happened or what happened. But rest assured, the majority of things are explained at some point in later books. He manages to like tie up the majority of storylines. And if it isn't in his books, it's in Esamon's books.
Oh, Jesus.
So some things in Erickson's books will have a short appearance in his books, and then maybe an entire book in Esamon, but won't reappear in Erickson's.
That's genius. That is just pure genius. Quick little anecdote. So I picked up the Knight of Knives, Esselmont's book. One, I'm kind of irritated that the mass markets are no longer in production. And two, why the fuck can't they all just be the same damn size? Like, is that so fucking hard to ask for? Is just everything to be the fucking same size? And I hate trade paperbacks. I just do not like to read trade paperbacks. Why? I don't know. It's just a preference. Anyway, that wasn't really my question. It was more just, from what I understand, the Knight of Knives is something that happens prior to Gardens of the Moon.
Yeah.
Why is it after Midnight Tides?
Because it was published after Midnight Tides.
but chronologically, you shouldn't. Chronologically, you would read it before.
Chronologically, it is before Gardens of the Moon, but some details are refer to things that have happened after Deadhouse gates.
Got it. Okay.
But the main way to think about it is that they decided to divide which parts of the Malazan world they would write about. And so Esamont, he wrote mainly about the Malazan Empire and the Crimson Guard, for example.
Gotcha.
And sometimes if Erickson has written a character in his books, if Erickson has written a character, Esamont will ask, is it okay if I take that character and continue writing him in my books? So some characters are in both authors' books.
It's just like crazy cool coordination.
Do they feel the same across the authors?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, I mean, Esselmont's not done with his novels, right? Because I know that Forge of the High Mage came out, and that's the next one in the novels, right?
That's the next one in the Path to Ascendancy, the prequels.
Oh, gotcha. Why did I think that it was so the novels are done then, right?
The novels are done.
Okay.
The last one is a sale.
Yes. Okay. So did Esselmont take the prequel and then Erickson did the sequel? Not the sequel, but like the epilogue or the ending.
No. Erickson also has a prequel series.
Okay. Jesus.
So that's the Carcanos series.
And this happens before Esselmont's prequel?
Oh yes.
After. Okay.
No, the Carcanos story is way before the Path to Ascendancy.
Interesting. So there's two prequels technically.
Yeah. Because they write about different parts of the history before the Malazan main series.
Gotcha. That is just like beautifully intricate, and I'm digging all of that. But
there's a lot of history to write about.
Right. It's just when you look online, you don't really get like that type of an explanation, And again, I don't want to like spoil anything, so like I'm not like super deep diving into it. But anyway, I'll digress on the whole mass market paperback and the same size and bullshit like that.
It's funny, before just maybe half an hour before I got your message, I saw on Facebook a meme. It's like differences height is no problem apart from when it comes to books.
It's so true. Just make up the same size. Another quick tangent. With books that I really like for example, The Wheel of Time, I have all of the mass market paperbacks and I have all the hardcovers. With Malazan, I have all the paperbacks and I have the hardcovers in the book editions, because they were a little cheaper and they're still hardcovers, so I don't really care. I just want the novels to not be weird. But I don't want to pay $200 for a book.
Yeah, no, there are limits.
Yeah,
I would love to have the large. I can't remember the publisher now, but there's this beautiful like illustrated versions of the books, but they cost several $1,000s per book.
Oh, the Subterranean Press ones?
Yeah, Subterranean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some like sets that they're looking for like $9,000-10,000 for those. I guess insane.
They're doing it's stupid because they're doing like the PlayStation 5 bullshit where like as soon as they become available, they buy it and then just flip it on eBay for double what you could buy it from Sony. And it's ridiculous. It's gotten out of control. Like anything new comes out, there shouldn't be, hey, let me just buy 10,000 of them and then flip them because I only need one of them. I
think they restrict the sales of it. That there's only one or two copies per purchaser.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, well then that's cool. I see them on eBay, and I'm like, oh, well, that's really cool. Like the one for Deadhouse Gates is the crows when they're taking the Wiccan souls away, and that's
I have different thoughts, but that's me.
oh yeah,
I
that's
told-
right. We did talk about this.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my interpretation of the subterranean press cover. And I mean they're cool, but I don't want to spend $300 for a book.
Have you
Yeah.
seen the Steven Erickson suggested making a one book version?
Oh my God.
Huge ass, just all 10 in one book.
Jesus.
That'd be a
But
murder weapon.
he looked into it, but it was not feasibly possible.
I imagine not.
Well, I mean that
I
thing
would-
would have to be at least 24 inches long.
Yeah,
But
it'd be insane.
there was a lot of excited. He posted this on his Facebook page. Would people buy this if we made it? And like people got
absolutely.
really excited, but it was like, no, it can't be done.
Not very well. Anyway, what was your take on the cover, Derek? I want to hear this again.
Oh, so the subterranean cover for Deadhouse Gates. I think it's Coltane on a sliding bed.
Hmm.
And I
Looking for a reaction there, are you, boy?
I can't. My camera's on, but I've got our document up, so I can't see either of you right now. So
I believe that's called a raffle moment.
yeah, I saw that cover and it just kind of struck me. I'm like, oh no, that's what I think it is. We'll see.
All right.
Well, should we get back to some questions here?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through. Do you want to read off the next one, sir?
So Kalam, as he's making his way through the Imperial War, and he seems to have some troubles. It seems to be off a little bit. I guess we're not really sure if there's something that we're not picking up on that explains that. Because somebody else, when Pearl and Lestara are following him, he said they know he's not quite on his game. They can tell he's a little bit off, and I think he said he was disappointed by that or something to that effect. That, and they talk about how dusty it is in there. So I guess if it doesn't spoil anything, we're kind of wondering if that really is dust from dead bodies. If that's just the Warren is just kind of a dumping ground for dead things. But now I guess based on where we're at in the book, I'm kind of wondering if that isn't the case.
I can say it's the dust is dead bodies, yes.
Okay.
But it's not because it's a dumping ground.
Interesting.
Okay. So all right.
I just can't fathom what else it would be, but I'm sure that's a Rafa moment.
It's going to be one of those like aha moments when you finally make it click. I believe you already have the information you need to deduce what it is.
I might have an idea based on the chapter that we just read. Maybe
we could talk about
just
after.
Yeah, just based on as I was doing some summarizing today. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It might not be the right track, but it could be, I guess.
I'm curious to hear this now.
Well, I'll let you know.
Another historical nugget.
Oh, well, then maybe I'm okay. I was thinking something different then.
Okay.
I'll still tell you afterwards.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess our next question. So at the Battle of Geller Ridge, were the sappers being used as footing for the Wiccan heavy cavalry, or were they simply there as a surprise for Rouleau's army?
Oh, that was a surprise. That was the sappers being crazy fucking sappers.
Right. Okay. So, because I know that when Duiker gets up onto the ridge, he sees this honeycombed pattern thing, which I'm assuming is just where they buried themselves. But also they were trampled. They were trampled by the heavy Wiccan cavalry when they were making their advance. So
yeah, they wore the shields to protect themselves, but they were crazy mofos to think of the idea of digging themselves in the ground with shields on the back and allow a fucking army to run over them just to give them the edge in a surprise attack. That is the sappers in a nutshell. Crazy.
So it was a little bit of both then, because I thought they almost like meant to be there to be better footing so that they weren't in the sand. Like they were cobblestones, essentially, I guess, is maybe one way to look at it. That's kind of what I thought. But yeah, they're insane to do it for sure.
Yeah, the more you get to know the sappers, the more you get to love them.
Yeah. They're interesting for sure.
And it's like the sappers are a breed apart.
You got to be a special type of crazy to be a sapper.
It was like you're working with high explosives that suddenly could just blow off in your pocket. And it's like a running theme is always how they like hoard their supplies of ammunitions.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that then.
And it's a running joke. It's like they love using them, but they try and hoard them and like hold on to them as long as possible.
They don't want to give them up.
Yeah.
Valuable commodity.
Definitely wish their presence was a little bit more. So hopefully we get to see them a little bit more than we have, but I'll take what I can get from them.
But it's interesting to think in a world where you have magic, how the sappers become such an important part of the Malazan army, because it's like it counteracts the magic.
Right. It's more kind of a physical thing and an engineer.
You'd think if you had magic, what do you need anything else for, really?
It's kind of a reflection on today's society, isn't it? Right? Like some of the archaic ways that technology has replaced has not necessarily like been lost, you know? I mean, people still listen to records when there's digital music, you know? Like it's still a thing, even though there's a better way to do it, you know?
It's also magic. Not everybody can do magic.
True. Right. Yeah.
That's a good point.
So the sappers and the ammunitions, they sort of like counterbalance those few that have the magic.
Keep them in check.
And it's a reflection on how armies have developed when they develop new weaponry. Because like the British Army, when they got the machine guns and Gatling guns, and like they just rode over opposing armies who had nothing that could compare to it.
So it's kind of like that one step above, you know, and then you just kind of keep stepping above the other and then reacting to that and then coming up with something equal or better. That makes sense. I feel like that brings a lot more perspective to the sappers that like I didn't even think about. That was definitely not something I was thinking. It's just crazy how these conversations can, you know, involve this like sharing of knowledge. Less so on Derek and I's part, but yeah.
It's still fun.
Yes, it is very enjoyable. Anyway, I think you had the next question, sir.
So Pearl, we know he's a claw, but he just seems kind of out of place. I don't know. I think Justin and I are both, I don't know if confused would be the right word, but I definitely don't feel very much trust for Pearl.
Why would you?
I guess I don't know how much you can speak to that, but okay, so we've got the right feelings then.
Jan, your actions are priceless. I love them.
But also you have to like, he's a person in a situation reacting to that. He has a job to do, and you have to like think, who gave him the orders to do this job? Why is he doing this job?
My guess is Lucene.
So then you're sort of reacting to what are Lucene's purpose. It's not that you don't really trust Pearl. It's because you don't trust the mission he's on.
That's fair. That's fair. But what is
I suppose I suppose that would be to keep Kalam or anybody else from taking out the scene, right? I don't know. I mean, that's, I guess, what I would think.
But I mean, at this point in the story, ooh, Mebra, that motherfucker. That's all I'm gonna say. Is Mebra that motherfucker?
Many people have said that, yes.
See, Derek? See? He's a deceitful little fucker.
It doesn't mean the book is a fake.
He totally is. Totally is.
I don't think so.
Jan is the only one who knows, and he's just dying inside, aren't you?
No, I'm laughing on the inside and on the outside.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to remain confident until I have to eat the pie. But anyway, okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Pearl, like, again, at face value, I understand he's there. He's got a job to do. You know, a lot of it is still kind of shrouded in mystery, but it felt out of nowhere and kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, but I didn't have a way of getting rid of it.
I think I actually quite like Pearl. I think he's a very fun character. His mannerisms.
Oh, we haven't seen too much of him yet, so I suppose that'll be a growing experience then.
I mean, he definitely seems, for the few parts that we have, like almost kind of this dry sarcasm, very stoic in the way that he translates humor. And I guess for me, I have a hard time with that in real life. I'm very bad with dry sarcasm. I'm very bad with stoic humor because I can't tell if they're being serious or not. So,
oh, that's like my favorite type of humor.
Yeah, I love that shit.
I don't know what you guys are doing hanging out with me then. I think it's just
maybe we're not hanging out with you, Justin. Me and Jan are hanging out, and you're just here.
Oh, fuck you. All right, well, have fun editing this episode, Derek. Bye.
Yeah, that was that humor you were talking about, or my attempt at it.
Well, I think it's different with you. You have been my friend for a long time. Jan, we're becoming good friends. But like with people that I don't know, or maybe just have kind of like a proximal relationship with, if they're like super dry with me, like the empath in me is like, oh, did I piss you off? Instead of looking at it as like a humorous thing. So my default is like, oh, who did I piss off? Instead of, oh, you were making a joke.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be all like, fuck you. If it wasn't a joke, then I look like an asshole. So I'm just going to default to safety.
You're all good, man.
Cool. Manala. I really think that Kalam and Manala would be a really cool power couple. I guess I don't know anything outside of kind of their initial interactions with each other, but it definitely seems like there's definitely some intrigue on both of their parts. Both really, really stubborn to not allow each other to feel those things, but still it causes them to do some really stupid shit, like Manala chasing a guy that doesn't want to be chased. But I think it would be really cool to see them in future books, even in this one, kind of be that like power couple. But I guess, can you speak to any of that without spoiling anything, or not really?
Oh shit! If I said anything about that, it would be spoiling.
Fuck.
But yeah, Kalam needs a lover.
Yes.
Kalam is a great character, and also some of his fight scenes are some of the best written fight scenes in the books. You got some examples of that already in the when he attacked the warriors of the apocalypse.
Oh, right. Yep.
And so it goes really more in depth into like the hand-to-hand combat when he takes on the enemies. But also he's a huge brooding bear of a man. He could have use of the love of a good woman. Because at the moment now he's only got the quick Ben.
Yeah. And Ben's not so quick, if you get what I mean.
Okay, Justin.
It wouldn't be D&J's Epic Quest without this nonsense, so I threw it in there.
Well, there you go.
Well, maybe that's how we got his name, Quick Ben. It goes really quick.
See? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, maybe I would have chose Efficient Ben in that case.
Doesn't quite slip off the tongue that well.
No, it doesn't.
Efficient Ben. Oh, God. That's good shit, dude. How about just not Quick Ben?
Maybe that's what the nickname he wanted. Yeah, it was already taken, though.
Yeah. Maybe it was like signing up for an email address.
Yeah.
The thing about Kalam and Manala as well is like she knows he's a really dangerous person, but she's still willing to go after him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which
that's
is crazy.
That says something.
Yeah, but I guess it's just, where that lies in her heart versus her mind type of thing. It's interesting that she's following her heart when her mind is probably telling her that she knows better. So it's just, I feel like it's a really cool setup to some really great character development. And I hope, and you've essentially answered that it doesn't seem to be that's just kind of a wham bam thank you ma'am type of thing. So yeah,
No comment.
no worries. We're getting used to that with these wrap ups, but I guess Mr. Derek, you want to take away our last question here?
Sure. So we get a sense that Icarium has memories that he hasn't had before, and Mappo is worried about him recalling everything. So it seems that Mappo was burdened to follow Icarium. So we're kind of curious how something that began as a chore, in a way, turned out into a friendship.
Yeah, well, that's pretty obvious.
Just the burden of him having to just hang around to carry him all these years or all these centuries.
They are one of the many great bromances of the series. There are many bromances, and Icarium and Mappo is one of them. And as far as I can recall, you can read that he has great affection for him. It is a heavy burden being around him, and you're sort of getting close to what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a burden for him, but he was set to the task to do it, but he's continuing to do it because of his love for Icarium.
Gotcha. Okay. Up to the story point so far. Yes.
Well, those were all the questions that we had. We did jot down a few scenes that we really liked, and maybe we'll see if you. I think you'd probably agree with them, but if you had any that you would add to them, you just want to alternate through these, Justin?
Yeah, we totally can. I guess our first unforgettable or most memorable scene was Cult closing the rift and shifting Warrens. I thought it was really cool how he was able to use illusion to take what existed in his Warren, which was sand, right? And like dirt and debris, and like make waves of it so that it could transition into water in the real world. And just even that, and like just the abstract thought of when he's in the Tisti Udur Warren, he is shifting himself from that Warren to the Minas. I forgot how I say it already.
Minas.
See, I always want to say mean ass. And just as that's happening, he's like, let himself go back to the ship, which is like transitioning from Warren to Warren. I don't know. Yeah, it's ingrained into my head at this point, and it's such a great visual to recall.
And it's also it happens again late in the book, but when something is first created as an illusion, but if it's given enough power, it becomes reality.
So thus Culp getting other ascendants came to his aid during that scene. And from what I understand, the first one there was the dragon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if the dragon is like assaulting the Warren of Shadow, why is he helping close it?
Is the dragon assaulting the Warren of Shadow?
That's what I assume. That's not what I assume, but that's what I'm interpreting, because during that part, it's mentioned that the shadow was like healing the things that the dragon was doing to it or something. It was really confusing, so I'm probably way wrong, but that was just my interpretation of it.
Well, it's like an elephant going through a forest. It's doing damage, but it's just going for a walk.
Gotcha. So it has no intent to destroy. It's
going from A to B.
Gotcha. Because I know that was how they explained it, is that the Warren, the meanest Warren, couldn't help Culp close the rift because it was too busy fixing the damage from the dragon. And so I guess I just never thought of, like putting intent behind it. So, Derek, does that make sense to you? Yeah.
I didn't think about intent behind it really either, but
no, that makes total sense. I really appreciate that. Now that it just like that, it just becomes that much clearer. So I get it.
But it's also another cool part of that scene is the flames. What does it do to them? To Bowden and the others that stay on the boat?
At this point in time, those sailors haven't been mentioned for a while.
No.
So I guess
they might be crispy.
Huh?
They might be crispy.
They definitely could be crispy.
Well, our second scene here involves Culp again, but when he's overcome by the rats. Pretty brutal. A little bit of me is holding out hope that somehow he survived it, but I don't think he did, and he must be gone. But there's a little bit of me that just hopes somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah, Erickson does that. He makes you fall in love with characters, and then whoops.
Mm-hmm. That I forget his name already. We just did this episode. I forget his name. Wayland, right? Yes. No,
Wayland.
Nawal.
All right.
Yeah, Nawal, the really obese dude, being
merchant.
The 4 undead dudes. Is that Grylan?
Whoops.
What? What are you whoopsing?
When I said Grillen, I meant you said Grylan.
Gotcha. No. See? Told you, Derek. You getting a pie.
For what? We didn't agree on a pie for that.
I'll give him something.
Yeah, give me something. Yeah, okay.
Negative.
So it's totally not Krupp.
No.
Yeah, I suppose that episode's not out yet, is it, Justin?
No, it's not.
Gotcha.
But this will come after that one. No, that episode is out.
No. Is it?
That's our newest one. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That's out. I've listened to it.
That's right. Yeah. Do you want me to take this next one, Justin, so you can have number 4?
Oh, sure.
Another pretty epic moment in the subbook was just the whole battle at Geller Ridge. I mean, I liked both the big battles we've had in this book, the Sakala Crossing and then this one, were really good, but they were also really different from each other. Like the Sakala, you got kind of, I felt like a bird's eye view of everything happening, where this one, Geller Ridge, you were just like in the thick of everything, and it was more that almost like
visceral.
Through. Yeah, just I mean, you're right there seeing everything. So I'm glad it wasn't two in this, two of the same thing. I'm glad we got a different perspective on it.
This was a huge win for me. I feel like it was kind of maybe a couple of chapters as like Servant was being described, and Mappo and Akarium were looking at the boat at Iskaralpus temple in the desert. I had kind of predicted that Absalar's father was Servant, and didn't even like I totally forgot that he didn't have an arm though. So the part that like I was doubting was the whole hand thing. Like I couldn't wrap my head around why one hand looked new and one hand looked old. But then when Crocus at one of the ends or one of these last two chapters was like, oh yeah, Absalar's dad didn't have an arm. And I'm like, oh, that fucking makes sense why he's got a new little baby hand. I just think
something
of like
given for something taken.
Right. Yep. That was just even just that line itself throughout the whole, like, I don't know, good 55% of the book, just threw us for such whirlwinds. But it was cool. It was cool to see that come to fruition.
If you ever get around to reading the books again, it's a completely different experience, and you pick up on all the foreshadowing. And I don't know if you talked to others about it before, but he wrote the books with the thought of people rereading them, because he thought, like, if you're gonna use this much money on all these books, it should have the value in rereading them as well.
I know Maura and Lee had mentioned that to us one of the times when we've talked to them.
Yeah, it's still cool to like think about that though. Like, how much are you as an author? Like, I guess it just speaks to who Erickson is, as a person, right? Like, what level of or what author is really going to think that deeply about it and not just be, oh, hey, I'm going to make money and that's it,
I think he really loves the craft of writing and storytelling. He's also, I think he posted that he's started or planning to write a book about writing, and he's taught about writing as well.
Interesting.
Might just pick that up just to read it. I hate writing. Summarizing drives me crazy.
You want to take this next one, Justin?
Yep. I thought the part with the Semp Godling was really cool, and just the way that a piece of the Jaghut god was so malevolent that it corrupted the spirits of the land, or one of the spirits of the land, and just that whole part was really cool. How he dies is a little anticlimactic for me, but I get it.
Oh. But
just the imagery with like the blood coming down the ice and stuff, like, yeah, it was cool.
And it's like history. What has happened is in the past is affecting what's happening in the present day.
Yeah.
And Raraku in Seven Cities is layer upon layer upon layer of history, of civilizations, and they're still affecting what's happening in the present day. And it's the same with us. It's like we are a continuation of our history. Things that are happening in our world is affected by our history.
For sure.
Yeah. It's really cool to think about that. And even going back to like the beginning of the book, when they talk about like, as much as you try to fight the past, eventually it wins and you succumb to it and eventually become the past. It's just crazy how, as people and humans, we can relate to these books. And
I think that's what makes them so good, though.
Yeah,
absolutely. That you can relate to them.
Like, it's fantasy, but it's heavily rooted in, humans and people and cultures and, pasts and things that we do. And yeah, it's cool. I like it.
I've seen in some interviews that he's talked about how war veterans have really resonated with his books, and that they've helped the war veterans with the PTSD reading them, because they recognize the experiences and the emotions that they've had in their experiences.
I did not know.
Wow.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I take it you want to do this one, Derek?
Yeah. So the last scene that we get in the sub book with the girl and the man walking towards Shaik's body, and just like the description of, I guess, like the static in the air and everything, and her hair raising up, might be like my favorite imagery in this book so far. Like, Justin, I would love to see you draw that. I don't know why, it just seems so cool, but I love it.
And it's also like, what are the odds of it? A young woman coming out of the sandstorm to just that place at just the right moment.
I don't think odds have anything to do with it. It must have been what was foretold, I think.
Jan is just smiling at you.
And this is where Justin's getting the pie in the face.
You know what? I've accepted that Shaik is coming back. I no longer think that. I am convinced. I will humbly take a pie for that. However, I think that the book itself was deceitful. I don't think it's the real book. I think it's on somewhere. I think it's somewhere in Aaron.
I don't think so.
Jan's just smiling at me, so I'm probably gonna take 2.
The further, the more, like, especially this last chapter that we just read, Justin. I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about my odds.
Last time I ever take a bet.
Oh no,
That's fine. I'll retire undefeated. That's fine.
Fuck you.
No. We need more bets. More bets.
More bets.
Okay, the people have spoken.
People have spoken. All right. Well, we'll try to do 1 bet per book on something that we cannot be dissuaded from each other's perspectives on.
I think that's probably doable.
I think so too. I'm just gonna be pissed if you're undefeated after all of this. But also, I feel like I take more risks with the predictions and the crazy theories and the out of left field fucking whatevers. So maybe I should have a handicap.
We'll have to figure it out.
I'm just
you do hit gold sometimes, like with the Uppsala's father
and Riga from Gardens of the Moon.
Yeah, and Riga.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not very good with probability, so I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
You've always got a 50% chance. You're either going to be right or you're going to be wrong.
Sure.
That's my positive mindset for the day.
No, I'm going to be a doer. I'm going to be realistic about the situation.
Well, that's fine. You can be that, but you still got 50% odds.
No, good. Want to take a bet?
No.
Okay, all right. I'm just fucking with you. Well, I mean,
I know.
We've kind of talked about 2 and 1 there. So the only other thing that I would add is the Grylan moment. I really, really enjoyed that section. That is up there for me as one of maybe the top 3 memorable moments in this book. The other one would be the Tistiandi heads and the being awoken and their bodies are just driving the Solanda. That was probably my other favorite part.
And the biggest question is, how did the heads get there?
Right. I'm going to guess Tisti Udur, if I'm taking a stab in the dark here. But from what I understand, that particular scene happens in 3 different perspectives. So I guess I'm just looking forward to what those other perspectives would be.
Read on and find out.
Yep. The Raffo. Yeah, I guess outside of that, I don't have anything else that we've planned on talking about.
There's so much more.
And there's more.
There's more. Uh, uh, One thing you haven't really mentioned is the bits of or the comedy in it.
Right, yeah.
It is bleak,
Yeah.
but there are also some really really funny moments, like the dead servants of Grillen, hilarious,
How they just laugh at his misfortune.
and like talking like, "Oh, I died worse than you."
Just like a couple of squabbling siblings, yeah. I think the top memorable humorous moment for me was when Fellowson asks for Culp's belt or whatever, when they're in that like underground city or underneath the city that's underground. And he's just like, why would you want that? You know? And she laughs like he's got a small penis or something. I forget like the whole circumstances surrounding that interaction, but I just remember Fellowson making fun of his wiener size.
And the cattle dog running off with the small dog. It's like it looks like it's rare.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. That was funny too. Yeah.
I think my favorite was after Klum gets out of the war and Aaron, and well, is that in this sub book? I don't remember. I guess.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And he's talking to the guy in the bar, and it's like, "Oh, well, how'd you get into town?" Well, the gate's closed. Well, no, it's not. Just like that back and forth that they had. Well, the harbor's closed. How do you close a harbor? Well, you're right. It's not closed. Like,
Yeah,
like that's just like that type of dry humor. I think is funny. That
and-
maybe from what you're saying, you struggle with maybe a little bit more, Justin. Not to say you didn't think that was funny, but like that was kind of up my alley.
yeah. What I found funny in that scene was just thinking about the way that that bar is built and how it's like bowed, on the floor, and the drunk dude at the table falls down into what I would just imagine is the soup of like vomit and food and rats and shit, and he just like slides right into it. That to me is a funny image.
The barmaid with her meat cleaver.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the captain, the sea captain?
Oh, I guess at this point, or at that point in the story, we hadn't really gotten a lot from him. I don't know. I think that so far he's an interesting character from what I've read, but I'm really curious as to find out a little bit more.
You will.
Fair enough. So
Yeah, just about always do find out more.
yeah. So is that a dofo? Dofum.
What?
I don't know. I'm talking nonsense.
And another thing that you haven't mentioned is how people can still be dicks in extreme situations. Ref the nobles.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the nobles. I don't understand how they have just this desire to continue. Well, I guess I do understand why they're doing it. I don't want them to do it because it doesn't make any fucking sense to try to live like a noble when you're running for your life.
Yeah,
They don't know any other way.
Yeah, they're trying to hold on to some form of normalcy, continuity in their life, but when everything's going to shit around them, like, okay, but we still got this, but it's just not helping, and they're being such assholes.
Which is ultimately
they
why
are
the chain of dogs.
They're pretty easy to not like.
Yeah.
They're dragging Coltane down.
Somebody's got to do it, I guess.
Yeah. I did think that it was, I guess, beautiful how Coltane turns his back on the nobles when they're like, sending in all these like writs to try to get him to do what they want, and he just doesn't have time for it. And I feel like it just fuels the nobles more, but at the same time, it's just beautiful to see them just shit on like that.
And you want to see them get like some form of comeuppance, but at the same time, it's like if they go like comeuppance, what would that mean? Would that mean that they're caught up by the army of the whirlwind?
Like they're the last one standing. They're all that's left. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard thing to I guess want in that case then, for everybody else to bite the bullet so that they, take it last. I'd rather sacrifice them first.
Yep.
They don't seem to do a whole lot for anybody else.
No, they do not. They just get in the way. Although I have enjoyed, or did enjoy, when Duiker was about ready to like kick the shit out of Nethpara, when he was basically interrupted from whipping his slave or his servant, so to speak, and Duiker is about ready to like knock his lights out, and then I think it was someone interrupted him from doing so.
Nethpara's probably the worst.
Yep. Tomblit I like because he seems to be reasonable.
For now.
Right, for now.
Do you think you'll ever get to see the Sapper captain?
No,
Uh,
I don't think I'm going to.
no.
Want to bet a pie on it?
No, I am not that confident on it. Jan, you're making me think all sorts of things about these pies.
There's, another interesting thing is that the character of Duiker is like he's an ordinary soldier that has become a historian. He's sort of a hero in this tale, and it's like it's the historian that's the hero.
It's definitely a different way to have a point of view in the story, which is neat. It's not the same old that you see in everything else.
It's not following the sword swinger. It's like the historian telling the tale.
Yeah, so that's where and we have two historians, so it makes me like I get the sense that they're on the same side and everything, but it makes me wonder if there's going to be some conflict between the two of them somehow.
I suppose, yeah, we never really. I know that was kind of a theme at the beginning of when we started this book, is just kind of like the battle of two historians. But I almost feel like Duiker recalls more history than Hebrick does, just verbally. I know Hebrick is seeing the past literally in front of him, but I don't know if that's the reason that he's a historian. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that at all. That is still clouded in mystery to me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it ends up at the end of the book.
And what do you think the end of the book will be?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't even think I can make a prediction to that yet. I don't know. I don't think Coltane's going to survive.
Well, you're predicting
I don't know.
it's not going to survive.
I don't think she's going to survive the story. I don't know if that necessarily means this book.
Fair.
But I don't think Coltane's going to survive the book. I think he's going to more or less kill himself getting everybody else to Aaron.
You think we'll see the dogs again?
See the what?
See the dogs again?
The hounds?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, the cattle dog and the lap dog.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know what's going to happen with Mappo and Icarium, how that's going to play out. And the only two things I'm fairly certain on is that Coltane's not going to survive the book, and Felison at some point doesn't survive the series. Again, may or may not happen in this book. I don't know.
I think that Icarium and Tremolor are related in some way, shape, or form. I think that the storyline between Mappo, kind of more elaborate reasons as to why the Nameless Ones had given him this task, will be kind of unveiled or further into. I think I would agree with you. I think that Coltane is going to die, getting everyone to Aaron. I think Kalam, I don't even know, makes his way out of Aaron and to Quantali, where he finds the Deadhouse and lets Fiddler, Apslar, Crocus, and whoever else is still standing in. I have a feeling that Rallick Mel comes in some way, shape, or form from Gardens of the Moon, because he was taken by a Deadhouse as well. Those are my extremely outlandish predictions. Is there any gold there, Jan?
Possibly.
Damn it! Yeah.
Now, so far in these books, which are your favorite characters and why is it Pust?
Why is it Poost?
Yeah.
He reminds me, I guess, I went to school for animation, and I just really align with animated characters because, let's be real, I'm kind of obnoxious like that. I could just envision myself doing and saying crazy shit like that, and just like his little giddy dances, like I can just imagine the way that he is like performing or acting, his like little crazy twirls and his like,
Just
yeah,
you just wait till you get to hear my voice for him.
yeah. Good news, everyone.
No, not that one.
I like that one better.
Yeah, that is a good one. I would say Fellison is still probably my favorite, just because her story's just it's sad and horrible to read, but I think there's going to be. It's hard to say redemption when I think she's going to die.
Think she'll get a river of blood before she dies, though?
I don't know. I think that river of blood is going to be her own being spilled, but
Which is going to cause conflict for Ganoz.
yes, that was my theory, that Ganoz will have to at some point go after Tavor, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Do you think Ganoz knows about it?
Maybe not yet.
From what I understand about Memories of Ice and Deadhouse Gates is that they do happen congruently. So I think that where we are in this point in the book, I think that he's probably just getting wind of it, if that makes sense. So like where we are as far as the timeline in Deadhouse Gates is where he'll figure it out in Memories of Ice. I don't think that makes any damn sense. Yes, to answer the question.
I think I kind of understood what you're saying, Justin.
Yeah. Granted, I don't think it's going to be like at the beginning of Memories of Ice. I think that it's going to happen probably middle to 3/4 of the way through it.
We'll have to read and find out.
Yep.
You still have a wild ride ahead of you. It's so interesting talking and knowing what's going to happen and like knowing what you soon are going to like experience, and like I feel happy for you.
That's exciting. I'm sure that's a unique, I guess, feeling to be able to have that. I guess I kind of get that a little bit because I've got my mom reading Wheel of Time right now, and so she's on The Shadow Rising, which was one of my favorite books out of that series. So just knowing what she's going to be in for that as she goes through it is probably a similar feeling. But like you said, I mean, if Malazan kind of spoils you for everything else, it's probably just on a higher level.
Yep.
Well, what do you guys think? Anything else there to talk about?
I mean, I feel like when it comes to this book or this sub book or the previous sub book or one particular chapter, I feel like there's so much that you could talk about and dissect and digest, and and part of me wishes that I could just keep talking forever about it, So I guess it's maybe a good thing that we're going through it as slowly as we are, because we do kind of get to, drink it in, so to speak, savor it.
For sure.
Have you spoken about what Kalam and Minala and them found in the Imperial Warren?
They found one of Icarium's mechanisms.
Nothing else? I'm trying to make sure that I don't reveal anything now.
They did find some like plaque, not a plaque, but like a sigil from not Prince Kaaz, but the other K name.
Kalar.
And I know that Kalam kind of, I wouldn't say reminisced, but kind of explained from what his knowledge of that situation was, but it wasn't anything terribly elaborate. It was just a very small piece of whatever that story is.
Okay, yeah, then I won't say anything. I was thinking of something else. But yeah, why do you think Ikariam's obsessed with time?
I don't know.
I feel like that's the most we know, is that he's got a thing for time, and a lot of his mechanisms that he's made, I'm guessing, are related to some type of categorizing time, like calendars and clocks and, other little trinkets like similar to that I can't even think of, is my guess.
I'm kind of feeling like maybe it's almost like a reminder to him for how much time he's lost. I don't know.
Maybe he can time travel. Jan's like, nope, no, absolutely not. Gonna shoot that down. You sure? You could have easily gotten me to take a pie for that.
No, sorry.
I appreciate your kindness, sir.
No, that one was a bit too way out.
Kind of science fiction-y, yeah. I can't think of a reason why.
That's my going theory. As for the why behind it, I don't know, but we'll have to see.
And I take it there's no explanation from you either.
No.
Cool. Thanks.
It's just I know where his character's going. And it's just you have so much to look forward to.
I guess you just might have to waffle that one. Wait, find out. I got nothing outside of that. That was terrible. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think we're dawning on like 3 hours. It's got to be what, 4:30 in the morning there?
10 to 3.
Oh, wow. Okay, never mind then.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah. See, I'm totally not like a Carium. I have no sense of time. Yeah, anyway, I think it was a great episode. And Jan, it was absolutely amazing blessing us with your vast knowledge of Malazan and just a very thought-provoking conversation around the events that happened in the subbook and other things.
Yeah, it was great having you, especially on short notice. I guess you have the advantage that you've read the series, but even if it's been a while since you've read this one, you didn't really have any time to prepare for it. So I think you handled things like a champ. It was a lot of fun to hear what you had to say and pitch some questions and thoughts your way.
No, it's thank you for asking me. It's been fun.
Definitely. Well, I'm sure we'll do it again here at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Probably, I don't know. Would you like to see the pie via virtual?
I wouldn't mind.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that we can arrange that. We can get a cell phone, a Zoom, and send you an invite. And when I get a couple pies in the face, you can kind of be there.
Looking forward to it.
I guess before we go, Jan, if you could please tell us or tell the audience here what pies you picked out.
Oh, so what? It was. I think one of them was a chocolate mud pie or something or other.
Chocolate mud pie.
One, I think the other one was a pecan sticky toffee pie or something.
Which one's going?
I don't know.
Which pie?
I don't know if I could do that to a pecan pie because I love pecan pie.
Well, you can.
Well, you can lick him afterwards.
See,
the thought crossed my mind
afterwards.
It crossed my mind.
Oh God. Okay, well, on that note, cool. Well, I'll write those down, and I don't know. Are we waiting until like Shaik is to do the pie, or?
I think you have to, yeah.
Okay. And that you can say happens in this book?
There have been twists and turns before.
Maybe we'll just have to get through this whole book and see where things land, Justin.
Sounds good. Well, hopefully
we don't have that much left.
Back to your face and not mine.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Possible. You got a 50% chance.
There you go with that shit again. But yeah, anyway, I guess for now we won't Minnesota goodbye it, and we'll say goodbye.
Have a good early morning there, Jan. Hope you get some rest. And thank you again for all your time tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Bye, y'all.
See you guys. Good night.
Good night.